Hey guys, SoCal Val here. You are listening to the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast.
Welcome everybody back to the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. I am your host, Adam Cousins. I told you I'd be back. See, you can't get enough of this and you can't get enough of me. This is the AEW Rampage review. This will really be a short review because Rampage is only an hour long. On tap for this week, we had the artist formerly known as Sin Cara in the WWE Mistico against Rocky Romero. We also had a triple threat match to determine who was going to face Orange Cassidy at the Battle of the Belt show this weekend, and that was between Kip Sabian, Isiah Kassidy, and John Silver. This week started, and again, I mentioned this on the AEW review, and we mention it time and time again, how to start a match, how to start a show off on fire. And once again, AEW absolutely delivered with this when they started the match between Mistico and Rocky Romero in a 2 out of 3 falls match. Absolutely brilliant match this was. Mistico got the first pin from the seated octopus hold. Rocky Romero got the second pin with the sliced bread. And then we had the Fujiwara armbar or the Mistico for Mistico to get the win. But what a way to start. I mean, if you love your Lucha Libre wrestling, and one of the things I really like Lucha Libre, I like Strongs, I pretty much like all different types. I pretty much like all types of wrestling. But if you're a fan of Lucha Libre, go out your way to watch this. A fantastic match. I absolutely loved it. What does the future hold for Mistico? We know there's a relationship with AEW. Does it mean he's going to come in more? We're going to see more of him. Hopefully we do. It will be great. Because we saw the Sin Cara that we should have seen in WWE and we didn't for whatever reason. Not sure, is it working the WWE way? Whereas AEW get that more flexibility with what you can do. Rocky Romero, still great talent as well. But I'm interested to see where AEW go with Mistico going forward. Because I think there may be something there for them there. I think if they've got Tony Khan wants to pay his money, I think there may be an opportunity there for Mistico going back. Stokely Hathaway was at the back with Kingston, Lethal. Jay Lethal said Homicide was never that good and he wants to take the ROH Championship. So Stokely says that if Jarrett beats Kingston on Collision in a concession stand brawl in Memphis, then he will get that opportunity for the ROH title. And Eddie said he will eat Jarrett alive, and we'll find out about that when Dave and Parker do the Collision review this week. The second match was a triple threat match between Isiah Kassidy, John Silver, and Kip Sabian. For the winner, will go to take on Orange Cassidy at Battle of the Belts. A little bit of a rushed one. It was a good match, but it felt as if maybe the first match had taken up maybe too much time, maybe gone over. This match felt a little rushed, but still a good match nevertheless. And obviously, it was nice to see that AEW actually said, hey, you've actually got to win a match to get a title shot. You know, sometimes we saw with the Orange Cassidy, I always say that Tony Khan was just pulling that wheel down and whoever wrestler name picked up was the one that Orange Cassidy would face. At least this time, there was a match to determine the number one contender for who takes on Orange Cassidy at Battle of the Belts. So that was fully enjoyable. And John Silver is the lucky recipient of the championship match for the international title at Battle of the Belts. A really surprising one for me, Santana versus Ortiz is actually going to be on Rampage next week. Quite interesting, that one, because that, for me, if you've seen the promos on social media, there is a bit of personal behind this feud as well. They actually don't like each other, quote unquote, in real life. So this match is going to be interesting, but they've put it on Rampage, and no disrespect to Rampage, but that's kind of their C show. I hope they don't view Santana and Ortiz as C wrestlers, because they're great, and that feud deserves more than if it's going to be on Rampage. I'm sure it's going to be a great match. Maybe they're building up to something, and it's going to start on Rampage and maybe finish at a Full Gear or a Revolution. Maybe they'll do some kind of gimmick match at one of those shows, and I mean it'll move up the ranks. Maybe it'll go from Rampage to Dynamite, Collision, and then a pay-per-view. I hope so, because this feud has got legs. If they do this right, this could be a lengthy feud that takes a bit of time, and it has a great end, which really what feuds need is that end point, that end match. You used to see it. Steel cage matches back in the day used to be the end feud. Now they're just randomly on shows every week. But apart from Becky Lynch and Trish, they used the steel cage match at the end, and that was great. But yeah, it will be interesting. And I really hope that they, as I say, give this feud a bit of time. Give 6 months. Let them, even have a little break in between where they go their separate ways and then it just starts back up again. You see that quite a lot, or you see that quite a lot in the feuds that have taken time. When they just want to break away from it, they'll move on to something else and then they'll go straight back into it head first. And that's what AEW should be looking at doing with this. This feud for me has got legs, and I am surprised it's going on next week on a Rampage. But I do hope it's the start of something lengthy. Blackpool Combat Club versus Bryan Keith and Exodus Prime. I'm not really going to go too much into that. You kind of know what happens here, right? You've seen the Blackpool Combat Club enough. They absolutely decimated this team, and it wasn't really, wasn't really a surprise, was it? There was a really nice little spot where it was a slingshot by Yuta into a military press by Claudio, and then he does all the uppercuts like he does, and then a giant swing and a fastball special to Prime, and that's your lot. Simple as that. The main event of Rampage this week, I told you it was going to be quick, was Ruby Soho with Saraya and Skye Blue. It was okay with this. I thought the match was okay, but there was some awkward bits in it. Skye Blue continuing that transcend maybe to the House of Black. We'll have to see how that pans out. She did get misted by Julia Hart before Julia Hart went to get married, and congratulations to Julia Hart as well as and her husband, who is part of AEW. Name doesn't come to me at the moment, but congratulations to them. Yeah, it was okay. It was a ish match, and as I say, Skye Blue looked strong in defeat. I don't think the finish done anyone any good. Saraya hit her with the spray can. That looked a bit sus. Looked a bit suspect to me. I'm not sure what happened there. But nevertheless, from there, Ruby Soho rolls her up for the win. The roll-up was a little bit iffy as well. But they got the Ruby Soho gets the win. They then start to jump Skye Blue after the bell, and Statlander was there to make the save. That was Rampage. Really, as I say, the review was going to be really quick because it's only an hour show. You can't really cram too much into it. But yeah, it was okay. I hadn't watched, to be honest, this is the first Rampage I've watched in a while. After the first match, I was buzzing. I thought this was going to be great. The other 3 matches, just a little bit off in areas. I mean, the Blackpool Combat Club is always going to be a generic squash anyway. There was never any doubt about that. The other 2, did I expect more? I said the triple threat match should have been longer, but again, an hour show, and you put a 2 out of 3 falls match to start the show. Perhaps it may have been better to swap that around and have had that to end the show, because if these and you had to cut time, they could have cut time from the 2 out of 3 falls match, because it still would have had a decent amount of time left to do what they needed to do. But I do feel as though the other matches were rushed, not so much the Blackpool Combat Club, but the other 2 matches on that show that should have gone longer that didn't, was because that show, the first match, that was really, very good, by the way. Really enjoyed that first match. But I just felt that the timing with that kind of ruined the other couple of matches on the show. But nevertheless, guys, that has been the Rampage review. It is really quick because Rampage is only an hour and there's only so much you can talk about, especially when it is just me, of course. You can't keep listening to me. But I will be off to Progress. Oh, this is Sunday that I'm doing this. The boys will be back with Collision. I'll be doing Battle of the Belts on Monday. I'm heading off to Progress in a good few hours. But until then, everybody, Buckle down, stay safe, and I'll be back on Monday with Battle of the Belts.